Immediately after graduation, I joined a company called Davy McKee Oil and Gas, and they just happened to have a project with Tate and Lyle here in London, and it was an extension to the sugar plant in Silvertown. And my role was part of the engineering team on site, supposedly directing the work of thousands. But of course, as a 22-year-old, I was green, and I was learning from everyone on site what I should actually be doing. But yeah, those were challenging days, actually, learning how to interpret design and construction drawings, working with people from all walks of life and from all sectors around the project that needed to happen. I can tell you this, that it was a very sticky environment. It was one that ever since then I've never taken sugar again in any drink. I think after a year on site I had my dose of sugar for the rest of my life. But it was a great learning opportunity. And yeah, every time I land at London City Airport, I always look over there and think I was there, and I can see the sugar shoot that I was involved in. The love for large-scale engineering, which I developed over time, was simply driven by the fact that I wanted to look at something and say I had a hand in that at a huge scale. So looking at an offshore platform, a refinery, a chemical plant, you know, there's a tremendous amount of achievement when you begin with bare ground and suddenly have something 7 years later, which is employing people, has all of the scale and complexity and technology. And that hasn't left me throughout all of my years. But of course, what I have learned is really the contribution that engineering makes to society at large. We see it in the cars that we drive, the roads that we're on, the hospitals and schools that we enter, the buildings that we use as places of work, the grand architecture around us. There isn't anything where we haven't made our mark through having overcome some kind of engineering challenge. And moreover, if we look at this moment in time, we can almost say that all the rules of the past have to be rewritten for the coming age. There's a wonderful picture in Shell that it's around sort of 1910, 1912, and it shows horses and carts in the background, and it shows the early Wright brothers plane and automobiles at the front, and it says, you know, the coming of a new age. And the tagline is the spirit of the new age, and that was the tagline that Shell used. And that's how I feel we are now. So the energy challenge is one which requires a whole host of disciplines to play their part. Material, chemical engineering, electrical, mechanical, if we're going to kind of overcome some of the challenges that we face. So it is quite daunting, I must admit, but at the same time, incredibly exciting to be here. When I think of when I was at university and we were looking at very early solar cells, it was unthinkable at that stage that we would have made the gains that have been made over the past 30 years in materials technology to allow us to have the solar panels of today with the kind of efficiency that they have. But of course, you know, that efficiency, you know, needs to quadruple if we're going to have something that we can truly leverage at scale. So I've seen the story unfold so far, and looking forward, I can only say that through, you know, material science, chemistry, physical engineering of electrical, mechanical, and so forth, there's a tremendous amount more to be done, which will give us more energy and cleaner energy, which is, of course, what we need.
But of course, you studied electrical engineering. What inspired you to pursue that kind of career?
I suppose I was always intrigued in how things worked. Just so happened most of the things that I got my hands on were either TVs, radios, those kinds of things. And at the time, electronics was just sort of coming in, but the pure subject was electrical engineering. And so I decided to follow that. It was something which, as I said, I'd always had an interest in. And it was something which I felt comfortable. So thanks to all those hobbyist construction kits that I had growing up, and also the good humour of my parents to always come home and find various appliances in states of disrepair, which I always used to say that's how I found it. Yeah, that's how it started for me.
You've had a lot of experience as a management consultant. You've had an overview of global business for the past 30 years. You're very well known as an international energy industry leader. I wonder, how do you identify yourself today? How do you see yourself?
Oh, that's an easy question. engineer. If I meet people for the first time and they ask me what I do, I say that I'm an engineer. If I'm going to checking in for a hotel, whatever the situation might be, that is what I associate myself with. Then and now.